The natural world is full of various types of wildlife. Hikers may encounter any number of animals on a walk through the woods. A deer with its playful fawn is exciting to see. A squirrel scurrying through the forest for acorns is amusing, and these rabbits hopping through the woods are fun to watch. Suddenly, there's a rustling in the grass just ahead. There is a movement, but no rabbit or squirrel hops out. Upon closer inspection, a slow, instinctive feeling of fear grips a human as the body of a snake slithers away through the grass. There is no animal in nature that is so feared yet hated by man than the snake. But as much as we may dislike them, there is also a compelling desire to know more about the fascinating world of snakes. No doubt this instinctive fear of a snake is a throwback to the biblical time of Adam and Eve when the serpent tempted Eve. But not all early people feared the snake. The ancient Romans viewed the Aesculapian snake as a symbol of health and fitness, and these entwined serpents today symbolize the profession of a medical physician. All folklore aside, there is something that sends a chill up a human spine at the sight of a snake. Its scaly skin, darting tongue, and the seemingly evil look in its eyes makes a snake a universal symbol of fear and dread. However, a snake is neither evil nor nice. It is just another animal that does its part in balancing the cycle of nature. Actually, most snakes are beneficial to mankind. Larger snakes prey on rodents such as rats and mice, and smaller snakes eat insects. Still, a snake is not exactly a cute and cuddly animal. It does not communicate. It tends to simply react. And all snakes, even the small ones, bite. Of course, some snakes can be very dangerous. Let's take a look at this animal we call a snake. A snake belongs to the reptile family, which includes turtles, alligators, and lizards. Even though a snake has no arms or feet, it can move easily over the ground or through water. It does this by wiggling its body forward in a rapid figure S motion. It also uses the scales on its belly, much like fins, and actually bends them forward and back, thereby pushing the body of the snake forward. A snake sheds its entire body skin twice each year. When it is ready to shed, a layer of oil appears between the old and new skin and makes it easier for the snake to crawl out of its old skin. Even the skin covering the snake's eyes sheds at this time, and the oil causes the snake's eyes to glaze over. During this period, the snake cannot see well, and it tends to strike at anything that comes close. A snake also sheds its fangs. Here we can see two fangs side by side. One is in the process of falling out, while the other is just growing in. A snake is literally a mass of connected backbones. While a human backbone contains 23 vertebrae, a snake's back may contain upwards to 400 bones. These vertebrae, all bending at once, allow the snake to move in a rapid, fluid motion. A snake has no hearing apparatus in its head. Instead, it senses all activity with its tongue and body. Its tongue flicks out and tastes the air for any suspicious scent of a nearby animal in the air, and it also senses ground vibrations nearby. A snake can sense the vibration of a footfall up to 15 feet away and usually moves in the other direction. As a snake moves over the ground hunting, its tongue flicks out and tells it which way a scurrying mouse may have run. It then follows that scent trail to the doomed rodent. Surprisingly, the inside of a snake resembles any other animal's body. It has a stomach, intestines, lungs, and even a heart. However, there is one major difference between a snake and other animals. A snake is cold-blooded, meaning that it has no way of regulating its body temperature. On a summer day, the hot sun will quickly kill any snake that cannot find cover. A temperature of about 105 degrees will kill a snake, and a temperature below 50 degrees will cause it to go dormant. During the sunny daylight hours, snakes will be found hidden under rocks or bushes to escape the heat. For the most part, wintertime temperatures, even in southern states, are too cold for snakes to survive. When the first frosts occur in fall, the snakes slowly begin to move back to their hibernating dens, which may amount to a simple woodchuck hole in the ground or an opening under a rock. Sometimes, hundreds of venomous and non-venomous snakes hibernate in a massive ball of entwined bodies deep underground below the frost line. All snakes are hunters. The small garter snake you see scurrying away in your backyard is a hunter of insects, but the larger garter snakes will catch and eat small mice. The larger snakes, such as this eastern copperhead, hunt mice, birds, and rats. As the heat of the day subsides, this copperhead moves slowly through the woods. Suddenly, its flickering tongue brings back the scent of a rodent. The snake eats its prey whole and actually unhinges its lower jaw in order to swallow the mouse. A snake can eat an animal 3 times its diameter. Its powerful stomach acids digest every part of its prey except the hair and feathers. There are 2 types of snakes in America: venomous, meaning poisonous, and non-venomous snakes. Venomous snakes have 2 hollow, needle-sharp fangs in the front of the mouth, which fold back against the roof of the mouth when it's closed. When threatened or hunting, the snake leaps forward with lightning speed. The 2 fangs spring down, and when it bites, small drops of poison are shot out of the tips of these fangs like a hypodermic needle. 2 large venom glands on both sides of the snake's head carry this poison. A professional snake handler is seen here milking a snake by carefully massaging the venom glands. Though it doesn't look like much, these few drops of venom could kill a grown man. The best way to treat a venomous snake's bite is with antivenom. A shot of antivenom administered within an hour or 2 after a snake bite will allow a victim to recover with little or no complications. Antivenom is produced in a very unusual manner. A particular snake venom is administered to a horse in increasing doses until the horse has built up an immunity to the venom. Some of the horse's blood is then drawn out, and the red blood cells are removed. The clear fluid left is called antivenom. In North America, there are 4 types of venomous snakes divided into 2 main groups: vipers and cobras. The first group, known as pit vipers, include rattlesnakes, cottonmouths, and copperheads. This type of snake derives its name from the small pit or hole on the side of its face. This pit is actually a heat sensory organ, which enables the snake to pinpoint and strike warm-blooded animals in the darkest night or in the depths of a hole in the ground. Any snake with that pit between the eye and the nose is a poisonous snake. Another identifying characteristic of the pit viper is the pupil of its eye. A non-venomous snake, like this common water snake, has a round pupil. A pit viper's pupil will have an elliptical or vertical pupil. Of all the pit vipers found in America, the one most often encountered by man is the copperhead. There are 5 subspecies of copperheads found in North America. This snake is the northern copperhead. While averaging about 3 feet in length, these snakes can grow up to 6 feet long. The southern copperhead differs only slightly from its northern cousin. In fact, all 5 subspecies of copperheads differ only in their coloration. A copperhead can easily be recognized by its basic pattern of light brown with a darker brown band around the body. The head is usually coppery colored, hence the name copperhead. The alternating patterns of light with dark bands provides the copperhead with excellent camouflage. When lying among leaves in an eastern oak forest, this snake is almost invisible. The Copperheads Range includes most of the highly populated eastern United States, and they are quite common in many areas. Fortunately, the copperhead is a shy, reclusive reptile that spends much of its time curled up under a log or stump. Still, several thousand people are bitten each year by copperheads in America. However, its venom is not very toxic, and with proper treatment, the recovery rate is almost 100%. The main food source of the copperhead is rodents and birds. Closely related to the copperhead is the cottonmouth, also called water moccasin. The name cottonmouth is derived from its peculiar habit of opening its mouth when frightened or threatened. The membrane lining the inside of the mouth is white like cotton, hence the name cottonmouth. For the most part, the cottonmouth is a snake of the swamps and bayous of the Deep South, but they can also be found as far north as southern Illinois in the lowlands of the Mississippi Valley and as far as Virginia on the Atlantic coast. Sometimes reaching 5 feet in length, cottonmouths tend to be aquatic snakes and are nearly always found near water. Like all snakes in temperate regions, cottonmouths in more northerly areas spend the winter underground. A few warm days in the spring brings them out of their hibernating dens, usually located on high ground and often some distance from water. After traveling anywhere from a few feet up to a few miles, the snakes will re-enter their summertime home in the swamps. To man, the cottonmouth is one of the most dreaded residents of the cypress and tupelo swamps of the southern United States, and with good reason. The bite of this aggressive snake is always a serious affair and can be lethal. The main food source of the water-loving cottonmouth is fish and frogs, though it will also kill and eat small mammals. The largest, most dangerous, and best-known group of venomous snakes in America are the rattlesnakes. There are more than 30 species and subspecies, and their range extends through every state in the lower 48 states. All rattlesnakes can easily be recognized by the rattle on the end of the tail. Listen to the sound of the rattle. When a rattlesnake is buzzing its rattles, it's a good indication that the snake is ready to bite. But the widely held belief that a rattlesnake will always rattle before striking is not true. Though rattlesnakes have been eradicated from many populated areas of their former range, the timber rattler is still found in much of the eastern United States. Varying in color from sulfur yellow to almost black, most snakes show a strongly banded pattern with dark bars going across the back. As with the copperhead, the color and pattern of the timber rattler completely camouflages it in its natural habitat. Reaching a length of up to 6 feet, the timber rattler is a highly dangerous snake, quite capable of inflicting a fatal bite. As the forested habitat of the timber rattler continues to be turned into urban subdivisions, their populations have dwindled in some urban areas. So it's interesting to note that even as deadly as a timber rattler's bite can be, some conservation-minded states now protect the timber rattler. Expect to find the timber rattler in all the eastern seaboard states from New York down through Georgia. Kentucky, Arkansas, and Missouri also have timber rattlers, along with Illinois, Oklahoma, and Kansas. Timber rattlers prefer the forested areas where they can hide in rock piles or under logs. The main food source of timber rattlers are rodents such as squirrels, mice, and rats. The most dangerous rattlesnake is found in the coastal plains of the deep southeastern United States. The eastern diamondback is America's largest rattlesnake species, with a record growth of almost 9 feet. Large enough to swallow a full-grown rabbit, this snake's fangs may be 1.5 inches long, and it possesses a large amount of highly toxic venom. To say that an eastern diamondback is capable of killing a man is an understatement. Many experts rank it among the world's most dangerous serpents. You can expect to find the eastern diamondback rattlesnake in the coastal plains of the Carolinas down through Florida and into Louisiana. The eastern diamondback is easily recognizable by the large diamond-shaped markings on its dark back. It likes to live in the swampy, brush-choked areas typical of the eastern coastal states. In Florida, it can be found escaping the sun under a palmetto tree. The snake eats mice, rats, rabbits, and other similar-sized small animals. Farther west, across the southern plains and into the southwestern desert, is the western diamondback. At 8 feet, it's almost as large as its eastern relative, but the western diamondback's venom is not quite as toxic. This is a small consolation given the fact that this snake is highly irritable and quicker to strike than any other American snake. The western diamondback is credited with more snakebite deaths than any other American snake. It is known to hold its ground and boldly defend itself. The western diamondback is found primarily in the states of Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and Mexico, but also ranges to Oklahoma and Arkansas. Much of the western diamondback's habitat is hot, so it always seeks out rocky, rodent-infested places or brushy areas where it can crawl in to escape the hot sun. This snake feeds on rodents, birds, and other small mammals. Throughout the arid regions of the Southwest is found a smaller but similarly marked rattlesnake. Drop for drop, the venom of the Mojave rattler is 8 times more toxic than any other rattlesnake, and it's quite likely that many of the deaths attributed to the western diamondback over the years have actually been inflicted by this highly dangerous snake. The Mojave rattlesnake can be found in the desert regions of Southern California, New Mexico, Southwest Texas, and Mexico. The preferred habitat of this snake is the scattered, scrubby creosote and mesquite brush thickets. It shies away from areas of dense vegetation and broken rocky terrain. The Mojave rattlesnake eats kangaroo rats, lizards, and smaller snakes. Throughout the open prairies and rugged mountains of the West, there is a relative scarcity of venomous snake species. Across much of this vast western landscape, the prairie rattler is the only venomous snake. Sometimes reaching 5 feet in length, these snakes are quite capable of killing a man. A total of 8 subspecies of this snake are found throughout the West, and it has the greatest geographical range of any venomous North American snake. Specifically, the prairie rattler can be found in Texas, all through the Rocky Mountain states, North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Kansas, plus northern Mexico and all of New Mexico. The prairie rattler prefers the rocky outcrops and sagebrush ridges of the open western landscape. Its main food source is rodents such as the ground squirrel, but it also eats birds and other small mammals. The sidewinder rattlesnake is one of the smaller rattlesnakes, averaging less than 3 feet long. These snakes, as their name implies, have developed a unique mode of locomotion for moving across the hot sand dunes common to their habitat. The sidewinder's range is limited to the Mojave, Sonoran, and Colorado deserts in California, Nevada, Arizona, and Mexico. The sidewinder prefers sandy, hilly country where creosote brush on ridgetops affords cover from the hot sun. The sidewinder's main food is pocket mice, kangaroo rats, lizards, and small birds. As you can see, the pit vipers are well represented here in North America. However, there is another class of venomous snake in America that is not a pit viper. The coral snake is the only member of the cobra family found in North America. It is a snake that likes the warmer southern climates. The most common coral snake in America is the eastern coral snake that lives along the southeastern seaboard. Farther into the southwest region can be found 2 other very similar subspecies called the Texas and Arizona coral snakes. All coral snakes are brightly colored in red, yellow, and black rings. In nature, such bright colors are warnings, but not all brightly colored snakes are dangerous. This is the harmless scarlet king snake, whose range overlaps that of the eastern coral snake. Mistaking one of these king snakes for a coral snake can have deadly results, as this reptile has the most potent venom of any North American serpent. Fortunately, the coral snake is rather small, rarely exceeding 3 feet in length, and is not aggressive. However, a good rule of thumb to use is to admire all snakes from a distance and leave them alone. Expect to find coral snakes in all the southern states along the eastern seaboard down to Florida and Louisiana, with subspecies also being found in Texas, Arizona, and Mexico. In the south, the coral snake prefers brushy woodlands and farmland, but in the arid western regions, the coral snake can be found in rocky gullies and dry river bottoms. Coral snakes eat small lizards and other snakes. The sight of an angry, venomous snake coiled and striking viciously makes it difficult to believe that any living creature would dare get close to one, let alone consider it for supper. However, there are a variety of predators that keep all snakes, even the poisonous ones, in check. Surprisingly, the greatest predator of snakes is other snakes. The king snake is well named because it preys almost entirely on other snakes, poisonous or not. This large, aggressive, though non-poisonous snake is immune to the bites of a pit viper. So, when it spots a large copperhead, instead of running away, it sees only supper. The king snake is a constrictor and quickly wraps itself around the copperhead and squeezes the heart and lungs until the copperhead dies. Obviously, the king snake is a great snake to have around. There are even some warm-blooded mammals who will readily seek out those areas where most humans avoid because poisonous snakes live there. The North American opossum is one of the few mammals that can resist the toxic effects of snake venom and regularly dines on venomous snakes. This one is eating a large copperhead. Birds of prey, like this hawk, will also kill and eat venomous snakes. This prairie rattlesnake carefully tests the wind for danger nearby before moving over the prairie in search of a ground squirrel to eat. High above, the hawk soars through the air, also searching for a ground squirrel or prairie rattler for its supper. While most humans greatly fear venomous snakes, some people actually seek out snakes that are capable of killing a man. This professional snake hunter roams the beautiful rolling prairie country of Montana in search of prairie rattlers. It is springtime, and the snakes are still congregated at den sites along rocky outcrops on exposed ridges.
One of them already knows we're here. He's moving. 1, 2, 3, and a
This hunter is well prepared with heavy boots, snake-proof shafts, and long snake tongs for grabbing the snakes.
I can see 4 heads. Because this guy is big and he's hot. He's hot.
The next area the snake hunter explores is a series of small rock outcrops on top of a grassy ridge.
This is real dangerous. Boy. See, I got rattling I'm hearing, and I can't tell where it is. I'm watching where I'm walking, even though I have snake shafts on. There's one over in the grass. A lot of little snakes here. Oh, jeez. I lost most of them. A lot of little guys, a lot of them. There's a big one. Don't like reaching in there, boy. Okay, I got one right here. He's moving a little bit. He may know I'm here. They can smell you. And they can feel your footfalls. I took 8 snakes out of this den yesterday. This boy's going to start leaving in a minute, I think. Oh, there's another big one in the brush up above him. So I've got to be careful where I put my hands. Yeah, they're leaving like crazy. I see a bunch of them back in there. That's a pretty good sized snake. You have to be real careful where you're putting your feet. Oh, geez, I see snakes everywhere. If you do, move in slow. I got rattlers piled here. I mean, I got snakes everywhere. Big ones. Here's a hog. Oh, they're rattling, buzzing. I mean, I got snakes in here like you would not believe. Another one. They're buzzing and buzzing. They're having trouble getting back in the den. There's so many of them, they're blocking the hole. There's another. That one a little far back from the head. I don't like that. There we go. Oh, here's that dandy. Now, I got snakes crawling up the hill here behind me. They're trying to get back to the den. That's what they're going to do. And I've still got one buzzing in here, and I can't find him in this brush. This is real dangerous because you put your hand in there to get a snake down in the den entrance, and if there's one up here you haven't seen, he'd take you on the hand. You're a very, very sick person. And most people say that I'm a little sick anyway. Now, we got two that are crawling right back up in here. I'm watching where I'm walking, even though I have snake chaps on. Whoa! These boys are warm. Point of interest. We have tens of thousands of rattlesnakes here. Our rattlesnakes are not endangered, and these ranches where I hunt these snakes, they have a lot of snake problems. They have young kids and dogs. They have house pets, cats. The rancher that owns this place took 50 snakes in his yard in the corral below the house. And so we're not taking an endangered resource here. We're only getting a fraction of the snakes that are here.
All parts of the snakes caught are utilized for such things as antivenom, food, and even the skins are utilized. This snake hunter performs a valuable service for the local ranchers by keeping rattlesnake populations under control. Remember, only a professional snake hunter should handle snakes, and always while he is wearing the proper safety equipment.
He's hot.
There are far more harmless snakes in America than venomous ones. Let's take a look at the most common non-venomous snakes that we are most likely to encounter. The snake that a human is most likely to spot is the garter snake. It is common and plentiful in all of the lower states, southern Canada, and Mexico. There are 26 different subspecies of varying colors, but the garter is most commonly recognized by the 3 solid yellowish stripes which run the length of its back. The average length of a garter snake is about 2 feet. Garter snakes may be found anywhere cover is available. It may be a rock pile, brush thicket, or thick grass. The main food source of the garter snake is insects. The larger garter snakes will prey upon baby mice. Another very common but much larger and more aggressive snake is the king snake, so named because it preys mostly on other snakes. Various subspecies can be found from southeastern Canada through most of the lower United States and south into Mexico. Though the most common type of king snake tends to be a shiny blackish color, some subspecies of king snake may have pale banding and different shades of black. The average length of a mature king snake is up to 7 feet. They like covers such as rocks or brushy side hills. The king snake's main food source is other snakes, though they will also catch and eat small rodents and birds. Learn to identify this snake and be glad when you see one, because a king snake is one of man's best friends. This bull snake is one of the gopher-eating snakes, common in the open country of the West where this rodent thrives. Various subspecies of the gopher snake can be found throughout the lower United States, southern Canada, and down into Mexico. Most gopher snakes are handsome reptiles with a variety of markings and coloration. A mature gopher snake may measure up to 7 feet in length. The gopher snake is not choosy about where it lives. It may be a gopher hole in the western prairie or under a log in an eastern forest. The gopher snake's main food source is gophers, rats, mice, and other small rodents. The water snake is often seen slowly swimming along the water's edge, hunting. The water snake is common to most of the eastern United States, but may be encountered as far west as Colorado. Various subspecies of this drab-colored snake exist. The average length of a full-grown water snake is about 5 feet. It is often encountered by humans near water and needlessly killed when mistaken for a poisonous cottonmouth. The water snake spends most of its time in the water or along the edges of marshy wetlands. Its main food source is small fish and frogs. This western blue racer is typical of this type of long, slim snake that can move very quickly over any type of terrain. It can be found throughout most of the lower United States, into southern Canada, and down into South America. These slender snakes can reach a length of 6 feet or more. This blue racer's coloring is pale greenish blue with a yellow belly. Racers can be found anywhere rock jumbles or thorn thickets can be found, and are often spotted climbing trees. A blue racer may look harmless, but it is still a hunter. Its main food source is smaller mammals, other snakes, frogs, and insects. Two lines of thought often occur when humans encounter snakes, and both can have damaging effects, either to the human or the snake. The first line of thought is one of instant hysteria that goes like this: the only good snake is a dead snake. This is wrong. Snakes are one of the main predators of rodents and do farmers a great service by ridding old buildings and farmlands of crop-eating rats and mice. If you see a snake in the wild, observe and admire it, but then allow it to go about fulfilling its role in the cycle of nature. The other line of thought can be dangerous for man. It is that irresistible urge to get close to a snake encountered in the wild. Remember, a rattlesnake can strike outwards in a blur of movement up to 2/3 the length of its body. Even non-venomous snakes can be very aggressive when encountered in the wild. This water snake was caught near a pond, and it seemed to have become quite docile, but then, ouch! Fortunately, this was a non-poisonous water snake, but if a water moccasin had been picked up by mistake, this mishap could have been deadly. Even at that, this water snake's mouth contains rows of short, needle-sharp teeth that can cause a painful wound that may become infected. Observe snakes and appreciate them, but most of all, respect them. Because snakes are interesting animals that play a very vital role in the wild kingdom.